Please welcome rookie speakers Kalyana Gurusami, Geetika Walter, and Pamela Jacobs. Today, they will be presenting their session, Journey of NAV to D365 Business Central. Please stick around after their session for a live Q&A.
Hello everyone, welcome to the DynamicsCon virtual conference. We appreciate the committee organizing the event and are happy to be part of the community. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Pamela Jacobs. I'm with Great Innovus and I'm a business development representative. We also appreciate the community voting our presentation on the journey of NAV to Business Central. We are confident that you're going to gain some knowledge and insights into a migration or upgrade of Microsoft Dynamics NAV to Business Central. We will be sharing with you the timeline in which Microsoft plans to sunset their NAV ERP versions, the impacts it's going to have on your organizations, and the compelling reasons to switch. I'm going to announce the speakers today. First of all, we have Kalyan. He is the CEO of Great Innovus. Secondly, we have Geetika Walters. She is our COO out of New York. And then finally, you have myself, Pamela Jacobs. Great Innovus very quickly has been around since 2006, so 16 years. We are a Microsoft partner. In addition to NAV and Business Central, we also work with Azure and cloud and web solutions. So we have, quite a few different skills available to the ecosystem. And we're working with Power Platform and Power BI. So the clients that we work with really range from small SMB organizations all the way to Fortune 500. So, the question is, and you've joined this event for this reason, why migrate from NAV, right? So Microsoft has stopped end of mainstream support for Dynamics NAV as of January 10th, 2023. So we're already past that. And, this is going to impact everybody. We're going to show a slide, like I said later, that's going to actually show the timeline of each Navision ERP and when the end of support and when the end of extended support is. But, another concern is integrations may stop working due to incompatibility in older versions of NAV. So, an example would be the Windows operating system. So when they do an upgrade this next year, there's a good chance your ERP would not be able to work with that. So those are one of the concerns that you need to be aware of. It also makes your system vulnerable and increases the risk of external threats. So, anybody who's worked with the ERP knows downtime is a horrible thing. It leads to lack of production, lack of distribution, manufacturing, poor customer service, and, quite frankly, just money. So, and lastly, system becomes obsolete and unable to adapt to the changes in technology. So again, that kind of leads to compatibility. So you want to make sure that your system is up to date and able to communicate not only internally, but you have to consider what your customer systems are and how that's going to work with theirs. So I'm going to pass it off to Kalyana, our CEO. Thank you for joining us, and make sure that you are able to write down any questions and answers for post-presentation. Thanks again and enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you, Pam. And welcome all to the journey of Dynamics NAV to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So I'm going to cover why you need to consider Business Central as an alternative to Dynamics NAV. So Business Central brings you up-to-date technology that is needed for your business continuity. You can have 24/7 support and running, and beauty of Business Central is it provides you with the cutting edge technology as well as the security updates, and you have a very good ecosystem that comes with more plugins and extensions and all sort of support that you need for your ERP to run successfully. And Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central running on cloud gives you 24/7 business continuity, and you can have anywhere, anytime access. So that is one of the major future that you want to actually take it forward. And what Business Central brings to your table is improved efficiency and better analytics for scaling your business. And you can just focus on growth and increase scalability and flexibility. So this gives you peace of mind to work and focus on your core competency than actually focus on running a ERP and the software stack. So Microsoft has ensured that they have bought all the business and management products under one package that enables you can enable to use it all under single license subscription. So this way, you don't have to buy different other software or build integrations. So you have everything at a single click at your laptop or your mobile phones. So you can access it anywhere, anytime. And that is a beauty that Business Central brings to the table and adds more benefit to the business, basically. Now, let us look at the Business Central features. So some of the major features being multiple languages that it supports per tenant. So this way, you can have like a lot of customizations and localizations that you can do to different localities. For example, like you have business running in Europe and US, you can have the languages localized for the European time zones. Different cities. So per tenant, like you can have this happening. So this way, like your different departments will run in different languages based on their locality. And it also brings in support for camera and location awareness with GPS tracking. So what it brings to the table is you can actually scan your documents and import as an invoice, which you received in print. And also like you can actually add real-time camera inputs into the system. And you can also have geo-tagging with location attached to a particular record. So this way you have like the entire tracking done with geo-tracking. And it also ensures that like you have better control on the system and the operations. So Microsoft Business Central offers you easy switching between environments, which is one of the most notable feature that Business Central brings on the table. And the major upgrades that you have with Business Central is you have longer names. You are no longer restricted with the limitation of the characters and the limitation that you get with any variables that you declare and use. For instance, like the company name or the description, all those things now comes longer. So this way, like you have your business capture the entire data and you can use it kind of. And document line description in the general ledgers is very detailed implementation that is happening with Business Central. And you have a lot of features that is added to ensure that you have merged duplicated vendors and you can copy items and you can also auto insert recurring sales and purchase lines. So those kind of features enable like you have better business opportunity and you also have focus on what you are doing and how the business is operating. And you have complete control on the operations, not just only from the management perspective, but also from the financial perspective. The features that is related to cash flow and invoicing, account payable, account receivables, everything is streamlined in Business Central. So this ensures that you have a very better system that provides end-to-end support to all that you need without no looking back. Okay. So just I would like to introduce further diving into how you look at migrating from NAV to BC. Let us understand a glimpse of NAV's life cycle. Okay, so NAV was originally launched as Dynamic NAV 2016 on December 19, 2012. So this had a mainstream support ended on Jan 9, 2018. And the extended support ended just this year, Jan 10, 2023. And the future path for all Dynamics NAV 2013 users is upgrading to Business Central. So because like it brings a lot of opportunities and a lot of new features to the table. And the same applies to Dynamics NAV 2013 R2, which is release 2, which was also again released on the next year, which is December 30, 2013. And the mainstream support ended in 2018, January 9th. And the extended support also just ended this year, Jan 10, 2023. And for both these applications, the best and the very great path is like upgrading to Dynamics 365 Business Central. The next product that is in the line of NAV is Dynamics NAV 2015, which was launched on December 17, 2014. And the mainstream support ended on Jan 14, 2020. And the end of extended support is going to happen on Jan 14, 2025. And it is advisable that you upgrade today than waiting for till Jan 2025. Okay, so and the next version in the lineup is Dynamics NAV 2016, which was launched on Jan 3, 2016, and it had its mainstream support ended on April 13, 2021, and it's going to have its extended support end on April 14, 2026, and the best path of continuity is upgrading to Business Central Dynamics 365, and the other version is like Dynamics NAV 2017, which was like one of the most popular version also, and it was launched on October 27, 2016, and this had its mainstream support ended on Jan 11, 2022, and it's going to have its extended support ended on January 11, 2027. And the best path of future business continuity is going to be upgrade to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So the latest version in the NAV, or the last version in the NAV, Dynamics NAV is 2018, and it was launched in December 1st, 2017, and it had its mainstream support ended Jan 10, 2023. Even though there is an extended support available till Jan 11, 2028, it is wise that you upgrade today to ensure that like you don't get into any risk that just Pam pointed out. So Pamela just explained about the security threats, vulnerabilities, and intrusions possibilities. So those kind of things can be avoided when you are actually having upgrade happening today. And the one more reason like why you need to consider upgrading today is these are all running on operating system like say Windows 11 or 10 or Windows Server 2020 kind of. So the software, I mean the operating system and other dependent software gets upgraded. And when you don't upgrade your core product, you end up like losing a support. I mean when you launch the application like one fine morning, the entire system will come to a standstill. And rather than having surprises at the last minute, it is advisable that you plan your upgrade right away and right today. And today is the best time to upgrade to Dynamics 365 Business Central. And cloud brings a total new possibilities to extend your business 24/7, anytime, anywhere. So with this, let me start to introduce our 5-step process. So we have at Great News, like we have formulated a 5-step process, very proprietary to migrate NAV to Business Central. So the first and foremost step is actually like the foundational study. And the foundation study starts with understanding the current version, platform, and the platform, I mean, a platform as well as like how it actually executes, like for example, on-prem or cloud. So those kind of understanding helps you to understand the expected target version for which you will be upgrading. And it also ensures that you are identifying the customizations, review your existing customizations, and identify which of them need to be updated or replaced. So checking the system requirements to make sure that the infrastructure is compatible with the new version, and also including the requirements of hardware, operating system, and database is one of the core top tasks that we do during the foundational study. Also, understanding the specific features or functionalities or any modules that is additionally needed is also something that we need to take forward in this particular foundational study. And understanding, I mean, the users are one of the core functional component of any ERP and business system. And understanding the users becomes one of the core component for the foundational study as well. So it can be like understanding the number of users or levels on users and roles and permissions that is needed for these users, as well as license planning. So these all needs to be done right before you actually dive in or get started with the implementation and demos. So, and the final thing is like ability to preview the current setup for assessment. So without assessing the current setup that you are running on Dynamic NAV, we will not be able to give a better assessment on how you can take it forward. So it becomes very necessary that any person who is doing this migration or upgradation, they need to do a current study assessment on the setup and ensure that like they either visit you and make a setup, or they do a virtually connect from remote and they make an assessment. So this ensures that like you capture all the challenges and pain points that you are facing and experiencing with Dynamic NAV, and how you hope your business will address with Business Central. So this kind of understanding will ensure that you also have a better planning outline right from the day one itself. And also like your system might be interdependent on third-party integrations or any third-party software, or even you can use any third-party platforms. So understanding these integrations and planning out how you are either going to migrate them, or you're going to upgrade them, or replace them with some latest features is something that you need to understand. And any business without reports, they are no longer existing, and having analytics is actually making them more successful. So having an understanding of what kind of reports and data is need to be migrated into Business Central also plays a very important role. And with this, like, I conclude the first step of foundational study. And now we'll move to the second step, which is the demo of Dynamics 365. So as a business owner, like, you need to understand like what all features Business Central brings to your table. And you need to understand its capabilities, reports, features, functionalities, and integration expectations. To be able to do this, you need to have a walkthrough hand in hand with the person who is actually doing this deployment, to understand what all features are there and how it is differentiating from the Dynamics NAV version that you are having, and how the cloud benefits can be enjoyed by upgrading to the Business Central versions. So this ensures that you are identifying your desired version, and you have a better planning study that is happening, which is the next step, kind of. So after you have experienced a demo, and you also have your users understand the demo, now we are all set with everything. And now it's important to actually do the planning. And that comes a third step, which is our planning study. So in the planning study, the foremost item that we need to start looking at is the data. And we need to have data migration considerations, both from technical as well as functional workflows aspects. So technical data needs to be taken a backup, and ensure that you are also saving it in a very safe place, and ensure that all your functional aspects like masters, submasters, setup, configurations, those are also migrated and studied in a detailed manner. So planning these data, both from technical and functional, ensures that your data is migrated in a very swift manner. Okay, so with this, the second major step is like backing up your data. Even though like we all foresee that the upgrade is going to be shift, and it's going to have minimum impact with the business continuity, but like there can be some unforeseen reasons where things might go wrong. In those cases, you always have your backup where you can go back and you can restore your system. So it is always ensure that you have a backup and you store it in a very secure place, in an archival place. So that is something that I would ensure that you all actually do it. And understanding the preferred timeline for upgrade is one of the most important thing, because like you need to plan your upgrade, taking into picture that when is a good time to upgrade, so that you have minimal disruption to your service of the business. So you need to have your users, your customers, your end users, none of them affected by the upgrade. So to have this, planning your upgrade and the planning the time to upgrade, and what resources will be needed to upgrade, and what is the expected downtime that will be involved with this upgrade is very much needed to understand. And before we actually roll out this upgrade, like it is also more important to test the upgrade. So having a non-production environment to make sure that the testing is also planned, and how it can be working, ensure that the system is working correctly before deploying into live system should be planned. And then like training of the users is one of the core and key functionality, because like without users, the success of the ERP is never going to happen. And it's ensuring, I mean, to have a successful migration or upgrade, it is you need to ensure that your users are trained and they are understanding all the new features and functionalities of Business Central, so that they are prepared and well ready for the system once it is getting deployed. So whenever a new system is coming into picture, it is always better that your users are well informed and they are well trained. So having a training plan is more important. And last and not the least is the communication plan. So you need to prepare a communication plan, not just only with your users, but also with the stakeholders, clients, and you ensure that you have a minimal downtime and you have less impact on your business. So with this planning, you can ensure that you have a very swift migration. And with this, we'll go to the actual implementation, which is the fourth step, where like you need to have a test environment to preview and ensure that like entire thing is delivered in a very swift manner. And once the testing is completely done, you actually do key user training, and also do all the validations with those users to ensure that all the system is working fine. And that is the time that you plan to go live and ensure that the full system is coming into action. Okay, so this is the fourth step on the implementation. And once the implementation is done, naturally, it leads to post-delivery and support. So having a better continuous maintenance expectations defined and planned out is more important for the success of ERP migration, particularly like Dynamics NAV to Dynamics 365 Business Central. And having a best post-delivery support expectations clearly defined and documented is more important for a successful migration. So with this, let me just reiterate on the 5 steps, which is foundation study, where like we understand how the system, what the current system is, and plan out the entire strategy of migration. And second step is the demo to understand what Dynamics 365 Business Central brings to the table and how you can actually plan to use the best of the features. And third is the most important, which is a planning study to understand how you are going to do that migration, as well as like how you train your users and how you plan your communications so that like you have a minimal impact with a minimum downtime with the entire process. And the fourth important step is the implementation to ensure that you have a smooth test validations happening to ensure that the system is properly done and dusted so that like you have a shift migration happening. And fifth, but not the last step, is the post-delivery support. And you need to have a better plan and better expectations set and clearly defined to be able to do the complete migration in a shift manner. So thus summarizes our 5-step process from foundation study, demo, planning study, implementation, and post-delivery support. So this we have developed by working with multiple customers and understanding their requirements kind of. So we are happy to share and make it available to the entire Dynamics Con users and the listeners and the audience so that they can make the best use of it and implement in a better way. So with this, we move to the migration steps in a detailed manner where we understand the defining of the business goals as well as the requirements capturing. So it is better to understand like how the system actually captures and aligns your business goals with the requirements. So you need to ensure that like you do a lot of user interviews and also like you also understand, visit them or even do a remote study to understand like how exactly the system is currently working and what are the different unique workflows that the company has implemented or the customer has implemented into their system. So understanding these things to understand the module level functionality as well as the customizations that is involved and all the integrations that is involved and any automated workflows that they may be having will ensure that you have a better goal defined and the requirement is clearly captured. And also understanding the existing process and any new additional features that may be required is also need to be understood. And also any new integrations and new process or workflow to be introduced should be captured. So this will ensure that your goal is clearly defined and you have the requirements clearly captured. And once you have done this, you need to start aligning your requirements, process, and futures with the industry best practices. So always it is ensuring that like we give the best to the customers, and we need to have the study done to ensure that you have a defined business goals and requirements, and you ensure that they are up to the mark and they are the best in the industry. And what makes them more effective is to do the information silos exist within the system, which you need to understand, because like some systems might work in silos and they don't have a better integration to provide the data, which is the main reason why you are actually migrating to Business Central. And understanding them can ensure that you can bring them into the system and their data is also captured and the flow is clearly defined. And understand, I mean, again, coming to the users, your employees, how they are going to use the report and how to drive the desired outcome. So those kind of things needs to be clearly acted upon. And how can Dynamics 365 solve your problems is something that you need to identify and act to the opportunities. So with this, we'll also move to detailed technical understanding. I mean, these are more from the functional perspective. And coming to the technical perspective, we have managing the pages, extensions, and application code. So these are some things that we need to understand in a detailed manner. Coming to the managing the code pages, there may be conflicting pages when you move from version 1 to version 2. So those needs to be understood, and there can be certain characters that is not appearing in a proper way. So those kind of things needs to be clearly captured and fixed. And there might also be database related issues. So we need to ensure that the database is also properly upgraded and we ensure that the code pages are properly working. Next comes the extensions. When you're converting from one version to the second version of extension, you will need to use the tools that is used to convert them to the source code from V1 to V2. And there are a lot of tools that is, available outside, but we would recommend to use the tool that comes from Microsoft as a part of the Visual Studio code base, which will help to convert your Cal code into AL syntax. And this will allows you to develop and test extension within the Visual Studio before you actually go live. So this ensures that you're having a better migration of your extensions. And then comes the application code migration, where like you need to upgrade all the latest syntaxes and ensure that there is no gaps in the upgrade. And you also need to determine if there is any add-ons, third-party apps, or ISV solutions are used, and yes, anything else is needed to be upgraded. So those kind of understanding will ensure that you have a smooth upgrade path that is happening. And with this, let us see a small flow of how the upgrade and to NAV to Business Central Dynamics 365 happens. And say if you start the process, it starts up, first is a cleanup, where you need to clean up all the unused codes. And it can be like custom or objects or old syntax, and standard objects and old syntax. So those kind of things need to be understood, cleaned out, and then like you need to export to the new syntax. When the new syntax, you need to introduce a custom new objects in the new syntax and standard objects in the new syntax. And once you are done with the cleanup and exporting to new syntax, you need to start comparing and also extract the delta between the custom and standard objects. So this is usually extracted as a text file with the .txt, and this .txt files can be fed into the Microsoft provided tool called text2al, txt2al. This tool will convert cal code into al code, and this ensures that like your code is migrated, and there might be actually a effort involved in doing some syntactical replacements to ensure that the code is running smoothly with al environment. That is the al is a programming language and the platform scripting language that is used for Dynamics 365 Business Central. Earlier NAV used to have cal. Al is called as application language for the matter. And once you've done the migration of the code base, next is the handling of events. You need to move the events. And for events, like we need to look at two places. First is the event and the publishers that needs to be migrated. And then any custom functions and separate code units needs to be migrated. So once we have the base code app modifications and web client changes done, this will ensure that we have the code and the application core that is ready for the entire new system, which is Dynamics 365 Business Central. Next, that leaves us to the data. So once we have the data also migrated with the data migration step, the solution is completely ready to go live. So this is exactly how we are going to do the migration. And we are happy to take any questions during the Q&A session. And I would like to thank DynamicsCon for this opportunity and all the voters who voted us and ensure that we have the session recorded today. Thanks everyone for voting for us, and we'll be happy to address all your questions during the question and answer session. So now I'd like to invite Geetika to do the closing notes.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. Thank you everybody for joining us today. And we are looking forward to your questions during our Q&A session. I'm going to quickly take you through our closing note. As everybody is aware, Microsoft has ended their mainstream support. And so, yeah, this is the right time for the businesses to migrate from NAV to D365 Business Central, which is needed for business continuity and staying up to date in technology. And as very nicely and beautifully Kalyan has explained about a 5-step approach, which is uniquely developed by our team. So this 5-step approach to the migration process can help you with your migration from NAV to D365 Business Central. And as many might miss on understanding by defining the business goals and requirement. So that's where we can help you to understand in detail by defining your business goals and requirement to decide on the migration strategy and technical considerations while dealing complex customizations involving CAL and custom code units to AL extensions. So yeah, thank you so much once again. Thank you for joining us. From our team, Great Innovative Solution Inc., we would like to thank you for considering this is our first time being here on this wonderful community. And we are looking forward to have many more sessions here And feel free to reach out to us if you have any inquiry. You can just visit our website and you can follow us. We have all our accounts on different social medias account, and stay updated there, and just have all the information we keep sharing about our latest technology updates there. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward for our Q&A session now. Thank you.